The Alabama Farmers Federation and the Alabama Farmers Cooperative proudly present Simply Southern with your hosts Jim Allen and Mary Johns.
Good morning and welcome to Simply Southern. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. Coming up on today's show, we'll tell you what our own Cyd Phelps of Bonnie Plants does when he's not helping folks be more successful in their backyard gardens.
Instead of having to go pay a psychiatrist to listen to me, I get to go play music and you know, it benefits me sometimes in multiple ways.
But then Sidney turns the tables and the camera on our host by showing us Jim's garden, and you'll see who truly has the green thumb. Fall Saturdays in the South are usually reserved for football, but one weekend every year, thousands of volunteers choose trash bags over tailgates to help keep Alabama's coast clean.
It's a lot of fun too, and you know, it's only 4 hours of your day.
But to begin today's show, we'll go along as first responders from across the state gather to pay tribute to their fallen brethren on the anniversary of the worst terrorist attack in American history.
What sustains us? Food? Family? Faith? Alabama farmers live those things every day. They conserve our resources, clothe our families, and fill our tables. They cultivate jobs for our communities and values for our future. Farmers grow it all right here in Alabama.
There's no such thing as downtime when you own a farm. This is your land. You tend it and try to get the most from it, no matter the weather or time of day. It's been that way for generations. And for generations, your local quality co-op store has been there for you, with a full range of agriculture supplies and services, from feed to fertilizer, seed to grain storage, and the right hardware for any application. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
On September the 11th, 2001, more than 400 firefighters and New York Police and Port Authority officers were among the 2,753 people killed when terrorists flew commercial airliners into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. As Kevin Worthington tells us, each year first responders from across Alabama meet in Montgomery to join rescuers from across the country in honoring the memory of these fallen heroes.
I can remember turning the TV on and watching it unfold and just being completely overwhelmed at the thought of what in the world would I do if I went to work tomorrow and had to experience what they just went through. It brings it home.
Pretty much on every floor when we're hitting certain levels, we think about, you know, what the guys were doing when they were on the 90th floor where we were at.
The world watched in disbelief as faceless rescuers ran into the World Trade Center towers on September 11, 2001. But for emergency personnel across the country, they watched their brothers run to their deaths.
Being a firefighter is a calling, and we're a family in ourselves, so it's just our family just extends to everybody else that we work with, so we're just one big family.
Across the country, first responders marked the 16th anniversary of the terrorist attacks by paying tribute to those who answered their last alarm on that day. Alabama's observance was in Montgomery.
Everything we have here actually represents something that is coordinated to 9/11. We have the RSA Tower here. We climbed 22 stories. They will do that 5 times, and what that represents is the 110 stories of the fallen World Trade Center towers.
Firefighters consider themselves part of a big family, but this event is made even more personal because each climber takes one of these cards to climb in honor of a firefighter who was killed during 9/11.
Each one of these honor badges has the picture, the name, and the assignment of either a fallen firefighter, New York Police Department, Port Authority Police Department, or an EMS person. And they choose these when they come in. And essentially they're climbing in honor of the person that's on their badge. We do it to honor everyone, but it allows for each participant to have a more connected feeling to it.
Several members of the Pelham Fire Department have participated in this event since it was started 6 years ago. Oftentimes they're joined by family members.
We've done it every year. This is the 6th year. We've got 5 of us that have done it every year. 2 of them are nearby, Greg O'Connor and Pete Gonzalez, and my entire family has done it this year and last year. My wife and my youngest son, he's 7 this year. He did all 5 times last year and all 5 times this year. And my wife also did it all 5 times.
Each year, about 50 events like this one are held across the U.S. and sometimes in other countries. Money raised goes to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, which works to make the job safer and supports the families of first responders killed in the line of duty. But organizers say the memorial stair climbs are not about raising money, and they're not about terrorism.
This is solely to reflect on the heroes that died on 9/11. Yes, we all realize that it happened because of terrorism. And you were here for the program. Terrorism was not mentioned, not one time. It was in the back of our minds, but that is not what drives us. It is strictly to honor and remember the heroes.
For Simply Southern, I'm Kevin Worthington.
Anyone can participate, but most are firefighters, police, and EMTs.
Such a moving tribute, and I'm sure for those few who aren't already in public service, it just cements for them how dedicated our public servants are.
It's touching.
Up next, we visit South Alabama for the 30th anniversary of Coastal Cleanup, a program that's removed more than 1.5 million pounds of trash from Alabama's coastline.
The versatile peanut. Meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things. Families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
Home. It's where you take your time. Build the future. Make your memories. Celebrate. Come home. Alpha Insurance.
Support healthy food from local farmers by purchasing a Farming Feeds Alabama license plate. The tag funds education and promotion efforts, including Ag in the Classroom, agricultural scholarships, and youth programs. Get your Ag tag today.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
A farmer has to live on faith. We do all we can do, but we can only control so much.
Alabama is the second largest poultry growing state in the nation, so we're trying our best to grow all the corn we can for that.
What we produce not only feeds and clothes all of the United States, but about half of what we make goes on to the world market.
We've been able to improve yields, have some things that can help us produce a better crop. I'm proud of the product we make and proud that I can say I'm an Alabama farmer.
Millions of tourists soak up sun on Alabama's pristine white sand beaches every year. But those beaches wouldn't be nearly as beautiful without thousands of volunteers who roll up their sleeves and clear trash from the coastline during the annual coastal cleanup. We joined these dedicated litter getters down in Baldwin County.
They came on foot, by car, and even by boat to help clear crud from Alabama's coasts. Nicole Warner was one of the volunteers who helped coordinate the annual coastal cleanup event in Mobile and Baldwin counties.
With Coastal Cleanup, I am the zone captain of Boggy Point, which is unique for Coastal Cleanup because it is a boat launch. And to be able to clean here at Boggy Point, you have to be shuttled to the islands. The city owns Robinson Island, and Walker Island, and then the state owns Bird Island. So those 3 islands are our main focus here at the Boggy Point launch. We have a boat that will shuttle folks out, and it works really well.
Even with her zone captain responsibilities, Warner made the event into a fun family affair.
Now I can bring my older children, my 5-year-old and my 8-year-old, and we have a ball. We swim in the water, we pick up trash, someone always bakes cookies, and we have a really great time during the coastal cleanup. And it is your responsibility and your duty, but it's a lot of fun too. And you know, it's only 4 hours of your day, and you can go watch football and go to other events, but if you come out, have a good time with coastal cleanup, yeah, we always have a lot of fun.
Over 5,000 volunteers experienced the fun and fulfillment of participating in the 30th annual Coastal Cleanup, which is coordinated by Alabama People Against a Littered State and the coastal section of the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources.
This is the largest volunteer event in the state of Alabama, and I think people, once they get involved and they see what they're doing and how they can help improve the environment, that they come back every year. So we have a lot of people that have done this, 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, or maybe this is their first year, but once they do it one time, they come back because they enjoy the event and they enjoy helping protect the environment.
The work of volunteers proves invaluable in keeping Alabama's beaches beautiful because there are a lot of sources for litter, from offshore operations to tourists and upstream activities.
The Mobile Bay drains 2/3 of the state of Alabama, and there's a lot of inflow into Mobile Bay, and a lot of that trash coming into the bay is from rivers and streams that's washed into those rivers and streams from upland sources.
For the first time in the event's 30-year history, volunteers were given recycle bags along with trash bags. While the satisfaction of doing such a good deed was reward enough, participants also received other goodies, including t-shirts and food. Plus, hardworking Cub Scouts earned badges. From the Cub Scouts to families and school groups, participants did more than pick up litter. They also built character and collected lessons in responsibility.
If nobody picks this trash up, it's just gonna build up and it's gonna look bad up here. I think people should come clean this up because it's fun and it just makes you, it looks better on you as a person that you want to keep the environment clean, and it's healthier for the beach and the animals out here if it's clean.
This is so important to me because I have 3 small children and I want these islands to be there for them to use when they're older and for them to bring their children one day and pick up. And you can see that there are recreational boaters and swimmers out here all the time, and we just need to encourage them to clean up after themselves and to preserve the environment so it's here for future generations.
Coastal Cleanup is an annual event, and you don't have to live in Mobile or Baldwin counties to participate.
Sounds like a good reason for people to plan a trip to the coast.
I think it is, and you can find out dates for the next event online at alabamacoastalcleanup.com.
Cyd Phelps of Bonnie Plants is up when we return, but this story ain't about tomatoes and peppers.
One out of 4 Alabama residents have benefited from the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. Last year, Master Gardener Managed Gardens donated $150,000 worth of fruits and vegetables to food banks, and over 25,000 young people developed math, science, technology, and engineering skills through 4-H. Now what we want to know is, how can we help you?
Soybean is a very versatile product. We make crayons out of it.
A lot of the combines you see rolling through the fields have a lot of plastic side panels that are made from a soy product.
The soybeans that we grow on our farm mostly goes into chicken feed.
Soybean production in Alabama employs over 10,000 people.
We grow some of the best soybeans in the world.
We go the extra mile to make sure when our name is stamped on it, we know it's the best product we can produce.
Seriously?
Have some respect. Pick it up, man.
Did you just litter? Take pride in your school. Pick it up, man. Clean it up, dude.
Besides keeping your campus clean, adopt a mile with Roadside Cleanup. Attend the next Coastal Cleanup Day or pitch in on the annual Spring Cleanup campaign. Make a difference by picking up litter and
Don't drop it on Alabama!
Nothing brings the family together like U.S. farm-raised catfish. American catfish farmers are dedicated to producing a premium, healthy catfish with a consistently mild, sweet flavor. Because we take as much pride in our work as you do in your cooking. From our family farms to your family's table, you can be sure you're getting the highest quality fish. Because your family deserves the best. U.S. farm-raised catfish.
We all have our hobbies. Mine's gardening. Well, the person on this show that's best known for gardening has interests that take him out of the southern sunshine and under bright stage lights. As host of Simply Southern's gardening segment and e-commerce manager for Bonnie Plants, Cyd Phelps makes his living helping others reap a flavorful harvest from the soil. But for Cyd Phelps, the entertainer,
he's a picking and I'm a grinning.
The seed of success was planted more than 20 years ago by his father.
My dad got me a guitar when I was 8 years old, and I didn't take a lot of interest into it at the time, but by the time we turned 13, picked it up, started playing it. We moved to West Virginia, so when you're just you and your parents move to West Virginia and you don't know anybody, it's kind of one of those things that you pick up and to spend time with, so that's what I started doing, was playing, writing, and doing things like that, but didn't really start performing until around 2008 when we started doing live shows and things like that.
Today, Cyd performs weekly at events across the Southeast and has developed a loyal following on streaming music channels like Pandora and Spotify. He and his band will soon release a second extended play collection of songs. While Cyd doesn't get his hands dirty playing the guitar, he said music and gardening are similar.
Both take time. You can start off really small and you have to be patient in both. I mean, you can't just, dig a garden, expect a bountiful harvest, and the same comes with playing guitar. You have layers that you have to build up. You have to build up tendencies with your hands and chord placement and, muscle memory, as well as learning the correct strumming patterns and the keys and vocals and all that. There's a lot that goes into it. So there are a lot of similarities in it. You got to definitely be dedicated.
Dedication for Cyd means putting in a full day's work with Bonnie, then swapping his work boots for the cowboy variety before taking the stage at venues in Auburn or around Lake Martin. It also means finding time to co-write original songs with Nashville recording artists. Although Cyd enjoys playing everything from classic rock to blues, he's found a home in country music.
My voice suits country a little bit more. We do play some rock and blues style stuff like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jim Croce, all those type songs. We play in the show, real crowd pleasers. But as far as what my voice suits for what I write, it's mainly country.
On stage, Cyd draws inspiration from musicians who also are great entertainers.
Garth Brooks has been a huge influence. The type of stage presence he has, everything that he does is a big thing. Travis Tritt's another one. They've just got, they're equally as good live as they are on the CDs, and that's the attraction, I guess you could say.
Like a gardener preparing the soil for a crop, being an entertainer was something Cyd had to cultivate.
I can remember several years ago, it was always something I did at home. I would play guitar at home for a couple of hours, and somebody made the comment to me, they're like, if you're going to play this constant, why don't you start getting paid for it? Why don't you start going out and performing for other people and let them hear you? And I never had thought of it that way. And now we're going on 10 years of doing live shows, and I've got the opportunity to open up for major acts, national acts. I've got to travel parts of the country and play music for people, and it's just, it's kind of crazy that I've been able to do what I do.
But whether he's singing and playing his favorite Martin guitar for thousands of fans, or plucking the Palm Store guitar his father gave him decades ago, Cyd said music, like gardening, is good for the soul.
Music is kind of like my version of therapy, is what I say. Instead of having to go pay a psychiatrist to listen to me, I get to go play music, and it benefits me sometimes in multiple ways.
To learn more about Cyd's music or book his band for an event, visit cydphelps.com or follow him on Facebook.
We all know that Cyd dabbles in gardening a little bit because of the show, but did this inspire you to dabble in music at all?
I can't even play a tune on the radio.
Oh gosh. All right, we'll leave the singing to Cyd then.
Yeah.
When Simply Southern continues, Sidney turns the tables on Jim. We'll take a tour of the unbelievable garden Jim works on all summer. You've probably heard him mention it a few times on the show, and Sidney says you won't believe your eyes.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
What we eat, what we wear. It all starts somewhere. And if it's good, it usually starts with a farmer. And that somewhere is right here in Alabama. In a field, in a barn, on a tractor. Right now, there's a farmer starting something good for all of us. And it all starts right here in Alabama.
FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education.
We're strengthening American agriculture and providing our members with the skills needed to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
We are the next generation of agriculture.
It's our turn now.
Let's show the world what we can achieve together.
We are FFA.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.
Hey folks, Cyd Phelps here with Bonnie Plants. Today we are here at our very own Jim Allen's house. Jim, we have got a chance today to tour your gardens, and I know that this backyard did not look this way when you got this, so kind of tell us how this whole process started.
When I moved here, Cyd, it was all lawn. I had a river birch in the middle of the backyard. I cut it down first thing, moved the fences from the back of the house to the front of the house where I'd have more room to play. Went to a lady's house and got many truckloads of cow manure. My cow manure pile was 10 feet wide, 6 feet tall, and 30 feet long to begin with.
That's a lot of cow manure.
I had a couple of those too over the years, and used that to enrich the soil to begin with. And then I built a compost apparatus in the back, compost bins you might have seen. Started making my own compost. I already had a plant collection, started collecting other plants.
And talking about your plant collection, we say garden, and I don't even know if garden is a right, I mean, obviously it's the correct term, but when I think of a garden, I'm thinking of tomatoes, peppers, herbs, and you have tomatoes and herbs, and you have things mixed in here, but you have like your own personal tropical paradise in your backyard. Where did the idea come from for, I mean, you've got banana trees, elephant ears, all sorts of things that I don't even know how to spell, so how does that get started?
Yeah, you start challenging the zones with some of these plants. Some of these plants aren't supposed to grow here, but they will grow here if you put them in the right place and take care of them during the winter the right way. I've got 8 different kinds of banana trees that'll grow outside. I've got a few I have to take inside, but most of them will grow outside and people don't even realize it.
And talking about taking inside, you said you had over 800 container plants mixed out, from succulents to pawpaws to anything. You have to take those and put them into your greenhouse.
I have a solar passive greenhouse, a south-facing greenhouse. It's 16 feet tall, 24 by 24. I built a loft in it. I've got a whole bunch of shelves in it. I've got hooks all in the ceiling for hanging plants. Everything manages to fit in there every year.
But how long does it take you to get those moved in and out? I mean, that's got to be time consuming.
Taking them out is quicker. Putting them back in takes a little longer because you got to be careful where you put them. And it takes 5 8-hour days, plus about half that time with one other person helping me.
Okay. Now, one thing about the gardens is you really, in a way, you've got a method to the madness. You know, the way that we toured and everything. But I noticed throughout the entire way of the garden, you mix in almost an art idea throughout it. You've got like the bells here behind us, you've got wind chimes, but probably the most unique thing, you have marbles everywhere. I mean, they're on wood posts, they're in the ground. Where did that idea come from?
I've got several hundred pounds of just children's play marbles, and I throw them around for children to find and for inquisitive adults to find.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for allowing us to come here to your home and see your gardens and tour it. We know that you hold an event every October for gardeners of all sorts to come around the state to come tour it, and we'll post that information and maybe we can get some people to come check it out, but thank you again.
Well, thank you, Cyd.
My goodness, Jim, we know that you have your day job plus this show, but that looks like it takes a lot of hard work.
Well, that's why I walk like Fred Sanford about half the summer.
Oh gosh, well, it may be tough on you, but we certainly appreciate it. It's worth it to see how beautiful your garden is.
You're kind. That's all the time we have for this week. Thanks for joining us. I hope you'll be back with us again next week when we'll meet a man who has dedicated himself to meeting the nutritional, educational, and even spiritual needs of the people in his community.
And great wine doesn't just come from Napa Valley. We'll take you to a Central Alabama vineyard that's serving some of the best wine you can squeeze out of a muscadine. Thanks for watching Simply Southern today. I'm Mary Johns.
And I'm Jim Allen. We'll see you again next week.
Simply Southern is a production of the Alabama Farmers Cooperative and the Alabama Farmers Federation.